construction of the Holy Family Shrine began in 1997 and opened in July 2002. We interviewed Mark Sakowski, who is a caretaker of the shrine. He will discuss more about the invention of the church, the symbolisms, and faith.
These were four people that they truly felt God called them to build a shrine. And what's so amazing about the story is that they didn't all know each other, but God allowed them to be inspired at about the same time in kind of similar ways, and then He allowed them to meet. And so there are a couple architects, this woman and her husband, and then our founding priest, and that's how it all kind of began with these individuals. They found inspiration, and then God allowed them to meet. And when they met and realized what had been going on in their lives, they decided to give back to God with the greatest sincerity and truly fulfill what they believed was God's will for them. Yes, they could have built this in town, but they felt it needed to be out here in the country. They were looking at a few different spots around this area. It's called the Shram Bluffs. And there were some other sites they were interested in, and because they were so interested in a piece of land about a mile southwest of here, that is eventually how they came to know about this piece of land, because they were inquiring more information about that other land, and they were led to this site completely by accident, and so they felt it was God's choice.
There is symbolism all over the construction of the shrine. The visitor center is built underground and represents a cave. It is carved out of the side of the hill to symbolize Christ's tomb. Light from the center reveals the sculpture, and the sculpture represents the shroud of Christ in the tomb during the resurrection. The water that appears from the sculpture is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. The pool fills with water as we are filled with the Holy Spirit. The water then flows and leads the people to the church.
The design of the chapel, that as people are led outside and they look at the chapel, the architect did some really neat things. You picture wheat out on the prairie blowing in the wind, and since Jesus is the bread of life and you need the wheat to make bread, that is a reason why the chapel is designed that way, with all the boards, the arch timbers crisscrossing, and the color of the chapel. And then also our hillside was returned to its native state when the shrine was built. And when those prairie grasses die off in the fall, they turn the same color as the chapel. And so when the wind's blowing out here, you see the grass is blowing and crisscrossing, trying to resist the wind, and then you look at the architecture of the chapel. The architect did a wonderful job creating harmony with the native Nebraska landscape.
The Holy Family Shrine conducts Catholic Masses but is non-denominational. Around 25,000 people a year visit the shrine to pray and meditate regardless of their religion. It was created for the purpose of travelers to seek out the presence of the Holy Spirit. The shrine allows people to be at peace.
We're technically just a shrine and not a parish or a church. We don't have a congregation. We do not have a priest here in residence. We are a roadside chapel for all pilgrims and travelers of this world. So the idea is that we're to be just a quiet place for prayer. And we can do a few things on a regular basis. We schedule a Mass. It's a Catholic Mass on Saturday morning at 10, but all people are welcome to join in on that. We do not do weddings, baptisms, funerals, renewal of vows, things like that.
We learned how important faith is incorporated in culture, so we asked how the shrine helps to form a part in American culture.
We see people here from all over the world. We're a melting pot of all these different, beautiful people. And that's just like how great is God that we can have such a variety. And so we see people here, different faiths, and we get to hear wonderful stories. People will be able to walk this trail, and it will be almost the same distance that Jesus walked when he carried his cross up to Calvary Hill. So, there's some new things since we've been open almost 15 years, and And once the Way of the Cross Trail is completed, I don't think very much more will be added to the shrine, that we're kind of sticking with the original vision. And this trail was part of that vision. But it's mostly to be just a simple, quiet chapel on the hill.